if solar really is the future, then why are people so skeptical about it still? Honestly, some of the things we hear, they're quite surprising.
Like what?
Yeah.
Welcome to the very first episode of What's Up, Verdant.
Boom! We're finally here. We've waited for so long. First episode, yo.
I'm the host of today, Karmen, K1.
And I'm K2, the other host for today, Kishen. This is K3.
Okay, my name is Ki. I'm the CEO at Verdant Solar, or K3.
Let's start off by asking what is the recent trending things, but something that you're not convinced with it. So maybe I start first. For me, it's the Dubai chocolate. Because I don't know why after we come back from Dubai, it suddenly became something trendy. I know it's not because of us, definitely. But yeah, I maybe something from Korea good. Yeah.
I feel like I missed out on the Dubai chocolate. How come I didn't get any?
You didn't know that is something trendy?
No, but that's true. It was so big there, we never seen it. We came back. Wow, it's everywhere.
Yeah, the dessert, the cakes, everything have an option of like Dubai chocolate, things like that.
Nice.
Wow, you want to go next? Or should I? Maybe I'll go first. It's okay. I think for me, it's about how every year there's the New Year's resolution where everybody wants to go to the gym. But then it's not just about the gym. It's about getting the best outfit, the best shoes, the best equipment, and everything that could get you results, but you don't know if you really get results. So for me, I think that's the trend that I'm not really convinced about.
Something that is trendy. This is actually a very difficult question because I don't keep up the trend. And not convinced yet. Controversial, but I think K-pop is quite a trend, and I'm still not into it. So maybe it's me lah. It's not the K-pop. It's me.
So I feel like solar might be one of the things that is becoming a trendy things, but maybe not convinced yet to everyone. So this is where we start lah.
So that's where we are trying to get into.
POV.
Yeah. So solar could be one of the things that is trendy now, but maybe not convinced yet to everyone. So we are still hearing some doubts on that lah. So maybe two of you can start sharing like what are the doubts that you guys heard from other people saying, like they are questioning about solar.
No, but the biggest doubt I heard is, does this really work? Like, is it really worth the money? Does it really work? Is it future-proof? I think seen a lot of systems over the years, seen a lot of things over the industry, but these questions have remained over the last, let's say, 5-10 years, the same questions. Even though we notice technology changing, even though we notice everything growing, I think the same thing is for me, the question that they're asking is more on, am I spending my money in the right place? I don't think it's to do with solar. What about you, Phil?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, ultimately, the question, what you're saying is that, does it really solve my problem? I think in Malaysia, we're quite blessed because thanks to the government, thanks to the strong infrastructure, we have electricity at all time. So then solar become a way of not to get electricity, but to save electricity. So then, hence, I think there's a question mark when people start thinking about solar is that, do I really need to spend that much to save? Because, hey, I got electricity. So this maybe is just an additional thing that I can do. I don't necessarily have to do. But of course, the other sort of barrier when I hear about people talking about solar is, I think usually people who's been living in other than the investment high upfront costs, etc., is when they're living in the old houses, they're not too sure about their roofs because the roof maybe can cause, if there's any issue, there's solar panels sitting on top, would it be harder to solve the roof issues, right? So I think there's also those kind of concerns. And of course, then they're talking about investment that goes to 5-10 years to get your 5 years to get your payback at least, right? Then need to last for 10 years. Then what about the warranty? How credible is the EPCCs and all that? that is doing my solar. So these questions, I think, in general, when you're considering investing something about 30K, I think for sure, you ask these questions, then make you think 2 or 3 times before you want to invest into that. I mean, those are the common, not to say blockers, but question marks that I think I hear. And yeah, again, is how painful is a problem you have now. One is that they have electricity, so not that painful yet. The second is that, wow, the electricity bill go up. When it really hurts your pocket, I think that's when people consider it seriously and put more thoughts into those questions I just mentioned.
Yeah, I think I'll just add to that because it has to be pain enough it has to be financially pain enough because the availability of electricity, as Ki said, in Malaysia is so high.
Yeah,
grid failure is not very common. Power outage is not so common. Usually if it's out maybe 2 hours, maximum 4 hours, they would restore. So people's dependency on this source of power is not as high, but that financial relief that it could provide, probably that would be the tipping point.
Understand. Yeah, from my side, the questions that I heard the most is also on the investment cost versus how was the return, and also like, am I paying to TMB more worth it, or do I invest on my own solar more worth it? That is their main concern lah. So yeah, I guess some sort of like we try to share from our experience and insight to help our audience to understand how solar works for them better. Yeah. While people is having doubt about solar, but at the same time, we are seeing that the trend of the solar is picking up and becoming trendy as well. So for people who is not convinced yet, maybe they are still being skeptical because of the lack of information. So maybe today, can we like have both of you to share like your experience of staying in this solar industry, and also maybe from your other background, how do you think about you yourself, or if people around you asking you like, are you going to solar? Like, how would you tell them?
Okay, to be honest, I think like I mentioned earlier, over the many years of being in the industry, we've seen the industry shift from first being very much on an investment where it was really expensive. We're talking like 2010, 2012 sort of time. Then it slowly shifted to the policy really supporting people to purchase their own solar, which is NEM. And now we are where we are, which is ATAP. Through the process, we've had different series of questions, let's say, different concerns. But at the end of the day, to be honest, it all went down to one thing, which I think he said very clearly just now. Is my solution good enough to solve the problem at hand? Is the problem enough of a pain point in our lives for us to actually want to solve it? And the answer to that is actually really depending on the person. So you get things of like, oh, I can pay TNB, I don't need to invest now, I don't have an upfront cost. I do not have to worry about my house. I mean the roof being a problem. I don't have to worry about leaking roof. Does this actually work? Is it a scam? Is it a gimmick? So many different kinds of concerns that we've had. But I think usually what we do as the bridge for people who don't know what's going on is our job is just to bring the information, to let them understand what they're getting into, and to hopefully see light at the end of the road. Like if they invest, it's a 10-year contract, and within these 10 years, what would you achieve? What would you get? And the moment we can build that clarity for them, they start to shift their mindset and realize it's not so much of a short-term thing. It's more of a long-term, we're talking like 20-year lifespan kind of product. So for me, I think over the 10 years, that realization, that education that people in the industry have put on the it's no longer a short-term thing. It's really a long-term investment. It's a long-term solution that you're actually putting your money into. For me, I think that's one of the aspects that I would bring to this love.
Yeah.
Kishen, if you don't mind me asking, is like you being in the project field of solar installation.
Oh yeah.
So how do you see like what do your customer normally face, or actually in most scenario, what actually happens for the solar installation?
I think if let's talk about before installation, the concern would be, does it work? The concern would be, is my money worth it? then during installation will there be problems? Is there gonna be a failure? Is there gonna be leaking? And post installation, the concern would be, am I gonna get what you promised? Is it up to the expectation that was painted for us? These are the concerns that we usually get throughout the journey lah.
So sorry, the question is why are people still skeptical?
And also from your experience, how would you give them more information to convince?
I think Kishen pretty much covered everything already. In terms of, we're talking about at least 20,000-30,000 ringgit investment, which is not a little money, it's quite a lot of money. And you're talking about payback, 4 or 5 years, which is again not a short period of time, a long period of time, right? So when it comes to making that kind of decisions, it's generally not easy. So hence definitely there's a lot of question marks. In terms of what I think I see has helped is the words of mouth. I think when people who has installed and actually saw their TMB bill going down drastically, some maybe even up to more than 90%, and then start to share with their friends and family, and then they're actually able to see people experiencing the real results. I think that's when generally people feel more convinced and want to actually install also. In terms of the blockers, which is the question marks at the start before you install, wow, 5 years, 30,000 ringgit, should I really put this money into here? Maybe it's easier if I put money into FD and just get a confirmed return as opposed to something that requires such a long period of time for the payback. Then I think that also means that the upfront cost is quite high. So what are kind of solutions that is out there that can help customers? Maybe it's through the easy payment plan, or maybe it's through the financing from the bank. Secondly is obviously talking about post installations, issues about leaking or worry if the generation is meeting what is expectations to save for TMB bill. And I think that goes back to who you're choosing as the EPCCs and all that is able to answer all these questions that you know is going to be there for the next 5-10 years. I think that's quite important as well. Yeah.
EPCC you mean is the solar service provider?
Solar service provider. So I think generally I think there's so many out there today. I think so when you're choose one that you feel comfortable with and that you also think that will be there in the next 5 to 10 years. I think that hopefully will answer some of these question marks that you have about the long term.
As we treat solar as the long-term investment, so one of the things that would definitely affect the most is on the generation, because the solar return is mostly depend on how good the generation is. So what is the factors or the things that you know that would actually affect the generation and affect their savings, etc.?
For this, the most the highest impact to the generation would definitely be the sun. We call it irradiance. So this would be how much of sunlight is actually hitting on the panel and converting into electricity. The challenge comes with it may be sunny outside, but it's still cloudy. So to the layman, to the person at home, it's sunny outside. Why isn't my system working to what was supposed to be? And I think over the years, we honestly don't have an answer to that other than it is cloudy, because that's just how it works. So this is one of it. What else do you think? Can you think of anything?
Weather is one, and of course I think how the Earth is rotating the sun. There's a sun path that takes into play as well. So, but in general, because of where we are on the equator line, so we are quite blessed. I think Malaysia, as what Kishen said, we have 12 hours of daylight, but it condensed down into about 3 hours plus of really strong electric generating hours. Or if you have simple terms is that, let's say if today you have a 10 kilowatt peak system, you times by 3 hours, so you have 30 kilowatt hour. A month you might have 900, and in a year you might have about 11,000. What does that mean? That means in dollar terms, if you were to multiply by the TMB bill rate today, which is 45 cents, you're talking about maybe 5,000 ringgit that you could potentially generate from the solar. So in general, I think across Malaysia, we are quite blessed because we have that much you can generate. And if you invest about 30,000, then you're maybe looking at about 5 years payback. So, but of course, the other factors that you mentioned about the cloud, the shading, maybe the obstruction from the other buildings, or trees, or maybe the day you install solar, you didn't expect, hey, why did someone suddenly decide to build a very tall building around you 2 years later, 3 years later? So there could be those considerations for sure. So hence, I think generally, maybe you will notice as well, I think the adoption is higher among those, not to say older houses, but houses in more developed places because they already know, you can already see like in terms of shading issues and challenges, maybe it could be less. Yeah.
Like the land is mostly occupied already.
Yeah.
So we cannot suddenly
No
build a
space to
condo
build other things.
there.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing on the factors that could affect the generation. So yeah, I think this is one of the things that like the key highlight of what would affect them when they make this decision to put an investment of around 30k plus like that. Yeah. So the question maybe is not that whether solar is the future, it's more to whether people are ready to be hooked on this trend itself. So do you guys have anything that maybe in your mind you don't believe that it will become something trendy in now? Maybe a few years back and then now.
This makes me excited. So I think if we want to talk about this in all seriousness, we don't know. But if we rewind, let's say 5-10 years ago, I wouldn't have looked at fitness or even sports in this kind of way. For context, if we talk about fitness 5 years ago, we don't travel to go torture ourselves in a fitness competition. We don't pay money to show how much we've worked in order to show the results. But suddenly that's become something that's worth celebrating. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just the trend has shifted and suddenly you have the biggest fitness competition in the world where people are traveling called high rocks. Then second to that, you have pickleball. Pickleball started as an inclusive sport for people of all backgrounds, all ages to just get active. Look what has become of the competitive world. It's exploded, it's evolved. And I think just these things in its own kind of sum up what could potentially be of the solar future. Someone like me who never believed in it has no choice but to acknowledge that it's actually peaking, it's actually growing. And you know, if you can't beat them, join them. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think it's maybe I'm practical is what makes sense. I mean, as what we've been discussing and talking so far, does it solve your problem? I think everyone has different problems that they're facing, solving different problems. And in terms of Malaysia alone, if you look at data, during them rakyat times, SEDA actually have those data. We can see, if I remember correctly, it's about 100,000 houses who actually applied. And most recently, the government also announced a Surya rebate for people installing solar, which is expected for about 50,000 houses. So if you combine that, maybe you're looking at about 150,000 houses that could have solar out of, in Peninsular Malaysia alone, I think we have about 4 million houses. So there's still a lot of room for more people to adopt solar, if you ask me. So whether it will become really a trend where you see 1 out of 4 houses got panels on the rooftop, I don't know. But definitely, I think for the people who has installed, definitely experience that it helped them to save the bill and all that. And it really can help them bring back the investment value. And second is that that was made possible because of the panel price dropping, etc. And we are seeing electricity bill going up at the same time. So then it becomes a sweet spot where, hey, wow, today if I invest 20,000-30,000, I might be able to get my money back within 4 to 5 years, and I'll be able to enjoy free electricity after that. And thanks to, talking about trend, thanks to increasingly more EVs on the road, everyone's bill is also increasing, which also means that you are able to actually fund the electricity for the EV with the cheaper energy from the solar. And also, thanks to people traveling across the world for high rocks, and today if you install solar and battery at the same time, you don't have to worry about house going blackout and your fridge turn off because of no electricity. So I think what I'm trying to say is that as the world progresses, there are things that we don't see, and it may, as a result, people see that this is a solution that can actually help them in many different ways. So then that's when things really take off. But personally, for me, I think I'm excited because going back to availability, I think the sun is there. And as I shared earlier, it's worth about 5,000 ringgit into electricity bill if you install 10 kilo or 16 panel system. So then it's kind of a good option to have. I think it's a good option where rather than paying a high electricity bill, you can actually generate maybe half the price of the electricity bill. It's a good option to have for those who can afford.
Yeah, I remember last time I heard that you talked about the price for fuels and also price for charge.
Yes.
Do you mind sharing it with the audience?
That one's for EV. So I think EV goes by kilowatt hour. So and petrol goes by liter, right? So I think per liter is about 2 ringgit now, and then 2 ringgit 10 cents. And if you are charging EV at home, you're paying TNB at about 45 cents per kilowatt hour. And in general, I think in a month, averagely, average EV have about 60 kilowatt hour battery. So if you charge it 4 times in a month, that's 240 times 45 cents. You can work out the maths of 150 ringgit to 200 ringgit, which is maybe considerably much lower than the petrol. And the other thing as well is that the TNB bill rate is about 45 cents or 55 cents depending on which tier you're in. But solar, the kilowatt hour you get from solar over 10 years, I think it comes to less than 30 cents per kilowatt hour. So then, so again, it's a good option to have, and if you can afford it, especially if you're thinking long term.
Okay, thank you for sharing the insights. And also on the trend of nowadays, how people can be more informative before they make a decision to also join the solar decision to go green together. And one part that I see why is solar also becoming a trend is also on the fossil fuel price increase because of the war and also the non-renewable energy itself. So this is why I believe it could be the reason why many of us joined solar industry and wanted this to be bigger, because eventually it's also contributing to the earth where we go green together. So for today's session, so maybe we can see that solar is the future itself, but maybe not everyone take the flight at the same time. So we take the turn at different times. So thank you guys for watching our first episode.
Here, we don't just talk about solar. Our goal is to really uncover any concerns, any challenges, basically anything that could help you make a better decision. That's what we wanna get to.
So if you have any questions or if you want us to discuss more about the hit topic recently, you feel free to comment and let us know. And don't forget to subscribe us.
Subscribe to our channel.
Like this video.
Follow our social media.
Facebook,
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything. Whatever you can think of, follow it. Click the button here.
Click the button.
This is What's Up, Verdant. See you in the next episode.